Okay, we're here.
Incredibly so. We're here.
We're back.
We're back and better than ever. I don't think we're better than ever, as a matter of fact.
No, me neither. Hi everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Gaia Project, the unofficial podcast about the board game Gaia Project. And welcome to a new season of Gaia Project, I would say.
Oh, this is our pitch. This is how we're selling it. This is a new season of Gaia Project. It's just like me and you, like doing different things for 6 months, and they come back and say, "Oh, this is a new season of Gaia Project, people." You know.
I suppose that's basically how every single podcast show works. these days.
Yeah, possibly.
No, without the part. Without the part of the of two people.
Out of 6 month break.
Exactly.
Right.
doing nothing for the show for long period of time, but we're here.
Yes. So this is a very special episode of Gaia Project. Let me say this. This is a very special episode.
Do say so.
For a number of reasons. So first of all, this episode is being recorded live, and it's the first time in the history of the show that me and Matteo are physically both in the same place, and we're both recording like together in the same place, right?
At the same table, literally.
At the same table, literally. So this is the first time this happens. It's very special because we haven't recorded an episode of Gaia Project for 6 months now, or possibly more.
No, I think they are like. No, yeah, they're exactly 6.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The last one was in March, exactly.
But did we even record an episode in March? Are you sure?
Yes, we did. The Firax Guide
Firax
came out in
Guide.
March, but I had to re-upload all episodes on Anchor.
Yes.
And so you won't notice that. But if you are new of the show, you won't notice that.
So this is also the first episode which is only uploaded on the new platform, and also. This is a very special episode because I don't remember anything about this game anymore. It's been too long.
So this could be a problem. But okay. So you haven't been playing a lot.
I haven't been playing a lot of Gaia Project recently.
You haven't been playing at all, actually.
I haven't been playing at all. So you remember, like, we had this thing where we were like super, consistent players. And constantly, playing games on and so we were really, on point. I was really on point. And we were super strong players, and we had everything. Every single detail of this game was in our minds. Well, it's not like that anymore. So don't expect that level of competence. Please.
We don't need that anymore. We transcend it.
Yes.
We don't need. We just play Gaia Project in our minds. We don't have to actually move the tokens, spend resources and stuff like that. I usually play Gaia Project like when I'm all alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even pull out my board. I don't even pull out my phone or my computer.
Stare at the box.
No. I just look at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I play in my mind.
Uh-huh.
It's me, other 3 people. They're all me, by the way. And I just play the game. And I know how everything goes.
And you constantly win.
I do, of course. Because it's like me 4 times, and so it's impossible.
So this is the new episode of Zen Gaia Project. This is a new game.
But actually, I've been playing.
Yeah, I know.
Lately I've been playing again.
I know you've been playing. It's just me, just Simone. I haven't been doing my homework recently. So we're here today to explain you how to play. So in case you didn't know, now you will know how to play a new faction. So an old faction, but a new faction in the sense that we still haven't done a guide for this faction. So and as far as I understand, we've been specifically requested to.
Yes, it was I think Truly Friendful on the Discord channel. By the way, link it will be put in the description. So thanks for asking. Just check it out because it's really nice. These days it's active. It's a nice channel where there's a lot of activity, lots of good advice given by people who, unlike me, are actually competent in this game.
Yep. And also we used to start every episode, with a small section about feedback and errata about previous episodes. But this has been 6 months.
No, it's season 2. New season 2.
So there is no feedback, no errata. We just. So the only feedback we have from the community is that apparently somebody is still listening to what we say, and they asked us to make a guide about. Can I say it? Can I go ahead and say it?
Do it.
A guide about the Terrans.
Spoiler! No, I think that they already read it in the
So
description.
It's not a surprise.
It's quite self-evident, I suppose. It's also the second faction of the 4 recommended starting ones which we are dealing with, and the first one I talked about the Xenos with Babook. So it's your first one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sure. True. I wasn't in that episode, but I'm gonna be in this one. I'll be mainly, reading the components. So this is what I'm going to do in this episode. This is what I feel comfortable, qualified to do. Yes.
Shall we start with the way we usually start with the guides?
Reading the components.
No, the artwork. We usually
yeah. You can comment the artwork.
That's the you're leaving it to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't like the Terran artwork.
You don't, because this guy,
it's just a guy.
First of all, not to be like non-inclusive or whatever, but I can't say if it's a he or she. Not that it's important, but it usually is quite clear.
I think this has been done on purpose. You can really, guess. Yes, you can really guess his gender, ethnicity,
or hair, or it's
exactly. It's I think it's a super inclusive picture.
Super inclusive. I love the hairstyle of the Terran in this picture. Yeah. It's like some dreadlocks or whatever. And also but especially I love this jacket.
I hate the blue orange jacket.
I love this wind jacket. It looks like it's inflated from.
Yeah. Okay. It's something like from a science fiction movie from the 80s. I would say
maybe 70s. I don't know.
Or maybe 70s. Yeah. I think Martin McFly in Back to the Future wore something similar. Now that I think of it,
you nailed it. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty bad picture. So there is this guy, there is this person standing in front of planet Earth, or what looks like planet Earth, or an Earth-like planet.
That's the blue planet.
Yeah, and that's it. So that's and the jacket is orange. It's also blue. It's mostly blue. But
not much to say this time.
Yeah. Okay. No.
New listeners, you are here. This is Spy Project, a very informative podcast with high quality content, as you can see.
Mm-hmm. Hi, new listener.
Okay, so let's go on. So give me starting resources. Do we have something unusual?
All right. So this is the Terran board. It's mostly blue, and and so it's just your average Gaia board, average starting resource. Nothing special there. We start with 3 knowledge, 4 ore, 15 credits, and you won't find many special things about this board. There are just 3. One is very easy to notice. It's probably the first thing that you notice. It's very big. It's in the upper right corner, and you can see that the Terrans, they start on level 1 on the gaiaforming track.
Okay, so we have the initial resources are pretty standard, 15
standard.
Credits, 3 knowledge, 4 ore, which respectively become 4 and 7 due to income, and then we start at level 1 gaiaforming. Okay, we are one of the 2 factions which
the other one being
it doesn't matter what's the other one.
Whatever.
Anything else?
No. Yes,
but it's orange. Oh dear. And the guy or the girl or whatever is wearing a orange.
Oh my god! Is that
blue jacket?
Is that a secret cross reference to the unnamed faction, to the faction that is not?
I think I've just unlocked a secret in Gaia Project.
Yeah. That might be a reference. Oh my god.
Anyway,
I don't want to know more about this. Anyways, the other very special thing. So our buildings, our structures, they don't do anything particular. So we have the normal QAC Academy, the normal 2 Knowledge Academy, and so on and so on. But our planetary institute, as every planetary institute, has a special rule, and I would say in this case is very special, this planetary institute. So what's the ability of the Terran planetary institute? They are allowed, when they set aside power tokens in the Gaia bowl at the start of the next turn, when this power token
at this during the Gaia phase, because it's like this is important. It's after the income phase.
Yes, after the income phase. So I stand corrected. After the income phase is very important. Timing is important. When the power token come back from the Gaia bowl, for each one of these, so provided that you have opened your planetary institute, once it is open, every time this happens, every time a power token comes back from the Gaia bowl into the normal power cycle, then something magical happens. You can transform this. So you do not transform, you just get resources just because of the mere fact that power tokens are coming back from the Gaia bowl. Okay, and you can exchange power tokens to resources according to the same exchange rates, let's say, in which you normally convert power tokens that are in bowl 3. So you can either gain 1 credit for 1 power token, or you can get 1 ore for 3 power tokens, or you can get 1 knowledge or 1 QAC for 4 power tokens. So these are your options. So there are 4 types of resources that you can generate by moving power tokens back from the Gaia bowl into the power cycle.
Okay, so we basically have another income.
Yes.
Providing that we had power in the Gaia bowl and that we, of course, have built our PI.
Exactly. So, but the point is that you already start at gaiaforming 1. So you are guaranteed, if you want to do that you can at least every turn place a gaiaformer, and so that at least every turn you can have 6, except for the first turn, of course, for the first round, you can have at least 6 power tokens coming back from the Gaia bowl, which you can convert. For instance, I guess very common conversion, round 2, beginning of round 2 is 3 credits, 1 ore, or 2 ores, or 6 credits,
or like that, yeah.
Or why not 1 knowledge and 2 credits. You can get creative with this thing. So this is a very important ability for the Terrans. We will come back to it in the course of this episode, but there are 2 more things that needs to be mentioned about the Terran board. The first one is that the Terran do not start with 6 power tokens, they start with 8 power tokens in their power cycle. They are so distributed. You have 4 in bowl number 1 and 2 in bowl number 3. Sorry, and 4 in bowl number 2. What am I saying? I'm sorry.
So 4 in bowl number 1 and 4 in bowl number 2.
I completely messed this up. Let me
4 and 4.
No, that's 4 and 4. 4 and 1, 4 and 2. It's okay. Forget everything I said before. 4 and 1, 4 and 2. Exactly. So you have more. You start with more power tokens. This has as well important consequences on your game. We will come back to this later. But there is one last difference of this that sets aside the Terran board from every other boards in the game. And it's easy to miss this one because it's only represented by a small arrow that has changed its direction. When you get back power tokens from the Gaia bowl, these tokens, they do not come back in bowl 1 as it is for every other faction in the game, but they come back in bowl number 2, which is...
Whoa, that's cool.
Yes, that's huge. That's an incredible advantage that the Terrans have, because what is normally this represents a problem for gaiaforming faction, the fact that your power cycle is basically stuck, because at the beginning of each turn you have a lot of power tokens in bowl 1 that come back, as Matteo reminded us, they come back after the income. So first you charge all the tokens that you have left in your power cycle, and then
or maybe you add them as well if you have, like, for example, the Planetary Institute, which has a normal income of 1 token.
Exactly. So the first thing you do is you take your income, including the income of power tokens, then you can charge everything, but then everything that is stuck in the Gaia bowl comes back. And so it doesn't matter if you have your Planetary Institute open and if you're, on top of the economy track and you charge maybe 8 power, the power tokens that are stuck in the Gaia ball will not be charged during your income phase. So this is a problem that every other gaiaforming factions, like, I don't know, an orange faction that I'm not going to mention. So this is a problem. This is a problem that other gaiaforming factions have. The Terrans, they do not, or at least...
I think that the fact that gaiaforming hinders or not your power cycle is what sets aside true gaiaforming factions from those who are not. Terrans have this incredible efficiency, meaning that their power returns in bowl 2.
And so, to be clear, this means that from that moment on, every power token that you charge is going to go directly in bowl number 3. This is huge.
ETARs, for example, can, with their PI, can discard it for technologies. We will see ETARs in the future. And Baltacs, which, I had to mention them. And Baltacs do exactly nothing. So that's and Gleans as well. But Gleans have this advantage with when they build a mine on a Gaia planet, including when they gaiaform, they get points. So it's, I think they are half true gaiaforming faction. But Terrans and ETARs are set aside. That their power cycles are not hindered.
They do weird things with power and in that are more efficient gaiaformers than their faction because they get more advantages simply by
But with Terrans, we also start at level 1 gaiaforming. And so I think, let's say it. Terrans are the gaiaforming faction.
Are the best at what they do.
We are the best at gaiaforming, and this is somehow, I think, sort of a limitation, because all in all, we are a bit of a one-trick pony, in my opinion. Of course, there are ways to...
It's a very good pony. How good this pony is.
We are a one-trick racing horse. One of those which, especially when let loose, wins basically every race. But if... I actually like this analogy, because if we are doing our race in the right conditions, we have our right rider, and everything is set, the weather is good and whatever, it's very hard for us to lose. Or better, it's very hard for us not to win. Terrans are very, very good at gaiaforming. But on the other hand, we suffer a lot from competition on the gaiaforming track, and I expect competition basically every game unless... the situation is very unfavorable for us, or the opponents are not very expert, but they will have listened to this guide, and so they know that you are basically too strong if left unchecked on the Gaia track. And in that case, we start to suffer. But that's when, the true strategy starts, because however, it will be super easy. Just go gaiaforming, pick 3 points per Gaia, and basically win every game. So
I entirely agree with Matteo, and I think we can already say this, and we will repeat this concept, I think, very often in the course of this episode, and also we will say this again when we wrap up. But the point is, you are very good at gaiaforming, and gaiaforming is all that you do. So you can think of playing a Terran game without gaiaforming.
But why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you? Just pick lands instead.
Exactly. So pick something else. The point is, if you think that the situation is so terrible, you have so much competition.
Literally nothing is good. On top, but it's impossible that nothing is good on top of the Gaia track, because there are always points.
The point is just we want to put this out of the way. Do not attempt to play a Terran game without gaiaforming.
No,
all right. I've seen it done. I've seen people doing that. I don't know why it happens, but sometimes it happens. Terraforming Terrans. No, that's not a thing. If you want to terraform with Terrans, just pick another faction. Just pick
something else. If you're desperate for blue, just pick Lantids.
Exactly.
They are way better at terraforming.
Exactly.
I received a lot of questions about this guide. And this is what I was looking at before.
So we do not have errata, but we have pre-errata. How do you call it?
I don't know. One of these is from Roadrunner Arun. Hi Arun.
Why is Arun still asking questions? He knows to play way better than we do.
I really don't know. I really don't know. But but he asks one of the he poses lots of interesting questions.
Oh, okay.
But one of these is: do you go? He speaks in the situation where we face competition on Gaia. Okay. What does one do when there's heavy Gaia forming competition? I can already get the answer. The answer is you fight the so-called Gaia war and you win it. And this is the only answer I can give you, because when there's heavy Gaia forming competition, there's actually not much you can do. Of course, it's situational; it depends. But I think that this is the main and mainly and possibly the only weakness of Terrans. If there's too much heavy competition on Gaia forming, on points per Gaia planets, like on top of the track and stuff like that, it is very hard for us to win the game, because we have this weakness. We are dependent on that track.
Yeah.
On that track.
Yeah.
And the other
and
question
we are
is,
dependent on the actual transit planets that exist on the map.
Sure.
Possibly even more than we are on the track, because maybe we can try and get points on some other tracks, but we desperately need to place those gaiaformers on the transit planet.
Listen to the following question: Do you go terraforming Terrans?
The answer is no.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. So the point is, if you have competition on the Gaia track, meaning that there is another player Gaia forming, then you do what Matteo said. You fight the Gaia war and you stand good chances of winning that war, because you're good at what you do.
Do you let API Itars dominate Gaia? Absolutely not. I give him hell or her hell. I do my best what I need to do is to Gaia form or take a Gaia planet one more than Itars. But usually I do like one or two more, stuff like, because we are actually better than anyone else at Gaia forming. Do you stay at Gaia 1 and focus on other tracks? No. I climb Gaia as fast as I can, which we will see is not very fast.
It's not super fast, yeah.
But I will try to stay at Gaia 3 so that I have two Gaia formers and compete with Itars at that level. Do you go aggressive Gaia instead to get as many power pools? Yes, I do. In general, this is what I do.
Mm-hmm. See, yeah, and so the point is that if there is one competitor, then you fight a Gaia war, and if there are three or more, then you're just gonna have a bad game, and probably you did some mistake when it was
when picking.
When it was time to pick your faction, because probably was not a good situation for Terrans.
Don't pick Terrans as first pick, especially if Gaia final scoring is one of the main scorings, because.
All right, I do not entirely agree with this. Terran. Also, we have done how many guides until now, Matteo?
8. This is the 9th.
Okay, and I think by now we have covered almost all of the so-called weaker factions. So the factions that are perceived to be, not not in the top tier of the faction.
We just miss Hadshalas.
Exactly. So now we're finally started to talk about the factions that are strong, undeniably, unarguably strong, and the Terrans are a strong faction, so you can go, because we always say, try not to pick this faction if you're first pick, because then you can maybe get into trouble. So Terran are a good faction, they're strong, they're solid, you can pick Terran as a first pick, and if which will probably happen after you have picked Terran, then there is someone who picks a Gaia forming faction, then you play the Gaia, then you fight a Gaia war. And this is how most Terran games go anyway. So there is this Christmas Land scenario in which maybe you are left, your fourth pick and nobody has picked a Gaia forming faction, and then you're left with Terrans, and that's a Terran's Christmas Land. You are alone, Gaia forming, and you probably just end up winning the game.
You don't need
this case.
You don't need this guy.
And then at this point, if you're listening to this while you're picking factions, you're trying to listen to this in order to win a game that you just started playing, you don't need us. You don't need a guide. Just go and play the normal Terran game and you will probably win. if your opponents do nothing to try to stop you on the gaiaforming track and on the gaiaforming business, let's say, well, there are good chances that you're going to win this game because you're going to score a lot of points. So
no, what I said was, what I said was, don't pick Terrans first when Gaia is one of the final scoring.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean,
my
consider that.
My point is that it's probably it's not very likely. So if you're first and you pick Terran, and then there is probably somebody else, some skilled player that say, okay, we cannot leave the Terrans gaiaforming alone, so I will pick this Itars, I will pick Baltax, or I don't know what. But it's very difficult.
It's just basically. Yeah. Maybe Gleans,
but it's very difficult at that point that there is a third player that after seeing Terran, Itars, and then who's gonna think, okay, I'm gonna take Baltax, and go gaiaforming. It's very rare at that point because there is just too much competition for transit planets. So my point is, I would pick Terrans as a first because I think it's extremely unlikely that another 2 gaiaforming faction will be picked in the game.
Yeah, in that case, what I mostly fear is that somebody will pick some, versatile faction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for Baltax are a good example of that.
Or Bescots, I
or
see people.
Ivits.
Or Ivits, yes. I see people sometimes doing some gaiaforming with Bescots.
And our game will become us specialized in gaiaforming.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Itars which use the PI and compete heavily with us.
Yeah.
And then there will be a third faction which is going to steal us like 3
1, 2
transdims, and our game will be absolutely ruined. That's my fear when you are
that's
first.
a risk.
That's just that.
That's a risk.
But in general, yes, we are quite good at finding ways to score in general, because Terrans are good. They're just good.
And also remember that if you're first and you're not picking Terrans, because of everything that we just said, then somebody else will pick Terrans. So consider if you want to play against Terrans.
Exactly.
Because as we already said, Terrans are strong.
Well, of course, it also depends on the map. Speaking of
which, so yeah, the map and when it is that we want to pick Terrans in general. What it is that we need when it comes to
the map.
The map.
Well, not much actually.
Not much. The Terran, in this sense, the Terrans are a versatile faction.
I recommend being able to at least, it depends if you want to open, there are various ways, now we'll see, but in one way or another, but I'd recommend be sure that you have another blue at QAC range.
Yeah, that's always good. That's a basic recommendation, I would say, for every faction.
Of course, we like transdim clusters, but I don't know.
Yeah, so if you have this is good for every faction. This is what I would always recommend to every player, especially beginners. It is better if you have on the map a planet and another blue planet apart from the 2 that you start with, another blue planet that you can reach by just using a CIQ. So at a distance of 2 or 3 from one of the 2 planets you start with. But the Terrans, since they are a versatile faction and since they rely heavily on transdim planets, I would say, and maybe this is an advice for more skilled player, but I would say that they can have a very good game even without that starting blue planet at QAC distance. Make sure that you are able to reach many transdims. So Terrans require that you study the map a little and that you understand how it is that your expansion will work throughout the game. So, as Matteo said, we really liked transdim clusters. So 2 transdim together, 3 transdim to the rare natural phenomenon known as the 3 transdim cluster. So we like that, of course, but especially we like transdims that are a distance of 2 from each other and from blue planets.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you just climb navigation until you get to navigation 2, and then,
Yes.
we
like going up navigation, so distance 2 is perfect for us. Exactly.
Yeah. So the map that Terrans do not like is a map in which all the blue planets are far, far away from each other, scattered on the edges. Yes, at the edges of the galaxy, and all transdims stand at a distance of 3 or more from each other and from blue planets. So very specific conditions. And having said that, there is not a faction who likes their planet scattered.
Let's say we are not especially picky when it comes to the map.
It's not.
That's not
exactly
the main limiting factor, and this is often true of all the true gaiaforming factions, because also retars when gaiaform are not in need of any special condition. Of course, if the blue planets are all on the outer rings and transits are super scattered, and the map is incredibly good for, say, orange or white gaiaforming, don't pick Terrans, but
that's a very important thing. That consider also how the map looks for Baltax and for Retars, your two main competitors on the Gaia. And Gleans, be careful, be wary of the yellow Glean, of the underdogs.
I think that a good map for Gleans is way more evident.
Yes, but I'm just saying beware that.
No, correct. Because Gleans can be a real problem for us. Because going gaiaforming with Gleans is not easy. But a good Gleans player will do that if left and unchecked, and will ruin our day.
Exactly. And if you wanna prove that Terrans are not particularly picky about the map, try to do the opposite. Try to make an experiment. If you play rotate sectors, try to when you're creating the map, try to make a map that is really bad for Terrans. You will notice that it's really hard to make that map, and when you succeed in doing so, you probably have a map that is at that point you had to work so hard to make the map look bad for Terrans that you ended up making an unbalanced map for some other faction. Probably some other faction will have a super good map at that point because you had to work so hard on limiting the Terrans that you couldn't, keep in mind all the different colors of the different factions.
Once you do that to try the next level and create a bad map for Ivits, I challenge you. Anyway,
we will come back to this when we come back to the Ivits episode.
So we're not very picky when it comes to the map.
So map, not a huge problem.
Oh, I love the next bullet point for Terrans. Final scoring.
Final scoring.
What are we looking for?
Okay, you know what Terrans do not like? Terrans do not like planet types.
Of course.
And why is that? Because you never go up. Yes, because you never go up Gaia terraforming when you're a Terran.
Don't do that. Don't try to be the edgy guy who wants. I think I'll experiment this. That won't work. I've seen that tried and done, and
I've seen. I even had, I think, games in which I didn't score well on the planet types objective because some crazy Terran started terraforming.
Correct.
And they have beaten me on the terraforming objective. The problem is that's the only thing they did all game. And so
you can ruin somebody else's game,
yes,
of course,
yes.
But yours will be awful.
The point is that in Gaia Project, if you really work hard, you can always ruin somebody else's game. The point is that can you do that while also winning the game? That's a different story.
And also maybe keeping a healthy relationship with the other person.
Exactly.
Or why ruining a friendship for this? No, you can do like 4 planet types. You can also pick white, red.
Yeah, sure. 4 planet types you can do easily pretty much every game. I'm not saying that you should do that. Actually, you shouldn't.
No, but that happens.
Who cares? Happens. But if you want to go 4 planet types, you can do that. 5 planet types. It means that you already maybe you took once the dig 2 power action.
But those 5 powers were a credit and a QAC.
Exactly. You're just wasting your resources in a bad way. So a Terran that has more than 4 planet types is a Terran that probably I don't know what happened in that Terran game. Okay, so planet types we do not like. It's not our final objective.
I mean, 4 planet types is fine for the knowledge per planet types basic tile.
Yeah, exactly.
And that. I mean, 4 is perfect, but also 2 or 3 is fine with that.
And normally my best Terran games I only have 2 planet types, which is my homeworlds and Gaia planets. So this is how you normally play with Terrans.
That's a paradox, but it's true. The best ones are blue and Gaia only because it means that you are ruling Gaia ones.
Exactly. Then it's normal, of course. It very commonly happens that you get 1 red, 1 white. Who knows? But yeah, the best Terrans game are 2 planet types. Who cares?
Okay, so planet types is off.
Planet types is totally off.
Sectors. Are we good at sectors?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are an average faction at sectors.
The gaiaforming factions have like a sort of small advantage.
Exactly.
Well, not so small advantage at that.
Gaiaforming faction have an advantage at sector because they have one planet type that exists in every sector and that is less contested than other planet types.
On the other hand, sectors calls for gaiaforming factions, so that can be hard. And we are not as good as true sector strong factions like
Lantids,
Xenos.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, it's not that bad. Oh, oh yeah, Gaia planets.
Gaia planets, of course, we like Gaia planets. And the only question at the end of the day, if Gaia planets it's one of the main objectives of the game, the only question at the end of the game is, will we be first or will we be second?
Yes, and also who else? But in general, when Gaia is in and I play Terrans, my goal is to be first, and that's it. And do that some sort of Gaia war, which we can detail later. But
of course,
you win the main with like 7 Gaia. That's perfect. 8 Gaias. Who cares? If I top the Gaia track, I still get 15 and 16 points respectively because it's 4 points just for going to level 5. So I think we are strong. It's going to be a harsh game, a hard game, but
maybe you win. Worst case scenario, you be second. Possibly you tie. So that main objective is going to need you between 12 and 18 points.
Yeah, let's say don't count on winning that.
Yeah, it's not automatic. It's not you're not assured that you will win it. But you'll do good.
Still good.
Still good.
Structures and structures in Fed, out of experience, I would say we are strong as well.
Yes. I think those are good objectives for us because we tend to expand on the transient planets. That really depends on the type of Terran game that you want to play. We will come to this in a moment when we talk about technology tracks. But in general, I would say both. Yes, both structures and federations are good for us. I want to add something specific about structures and federations. We are, and we will see this in a second, very good at, uniting, putting together, linking all of our structures in a federation. So the point with structure and federation is that sometimes other factions have these problems that we don't have enough satellites to connect the last mine lost in sector,
especially the other side of the blue board.
Exactly, in sector whatever, so I could put more structures in this federation, but I am forced to make a different federation because I don't have enough satellites to connect all that. That is not a problem because when you are the Terrans, and you start with 8 power tokens and you tend to open your PI round 1. If not round 1, is round 2.
Okay, wait. Pitchforks down. We will come to the openings for Terrans.
I swear, because
I could hear some expert players pulling out their pitchforks. Wait, just a sec.
But my point is that at the end of the game, by round 6, you will have around 15, 16 power tokens going around in your power cycle.
Especially if Structures in Federation is in play, or the last and big one objective, which is satellites. We rule at satellites.
Yes, I would say that Terrans are stronger at satellites than they are at Gaia planets.
Sure they are.
Because there just is no faction that can compete with them. Of course, exceptions could be mentioned. There are factions that get 2 power token per round every after they open their PI. But one of these factions are the Eaters, but the Eaters are constantly cannibalizing their own power token. So either you want to play an Eater game without ever using your PI ability, which is something I would not recommend.
It's suicidal.
It's suicidal. So in a vacuum, Eaters would get even more power tokens than Terrans. But the reality of things is that Eaters normally they are craving. They burn these power tokens and they are starved for power tokens.
No, the other 2 factions are Ambas, which tend to form lots of small federations, not at great distances, but they can do that. But
and also
they also
the
tend to open their PI later.
Exactly. The Ambas open their PI maybe round 3, round 4, round 5, depends. Let's send around the central rounds of the game.
The real competitor can be best gods, in my opinion.
And best gods are good.
Best gods are competitive.
Yes.
They are good at something. But they're not as good as we are because we can't say, okay, round 1, I will open my PI, and that's fine. Best gods just can't.
Yeah, exactly. And also we start with 8. We're the only faction that do that except for Eaters. So even an Ambas that opens their PI round 3 and so gets 6 extra tokens, not bad at all.
Nope.
But still, they started with 6. So at the end of the day, it's 12 in round 6, right? Total. We get to 15, without breaking a sweat. And this is what makes Terrans. And this gives you an extra.
No, wait, it's 13 actually. Sorry.
13. Yeah, sorry. I said 13.
No, but that's still a lot.
But that's still a lot, and that gives you the possibility of creating this crazy federation. So it makes you very versatile. You can just pick planets wherever you want. Provided that you can reach these planets, you can build your mines very far away from each other. Nobody cares because at the end of the game, you will be able to link all of that, all of those buildings in huge federations.
Also, with respect to best gods and ambas, we are super duper efficient with our power cycle.
Yes.
Because when power is in bowl 1, we can just freeze them in our Gaia bowl, and they will return in our second bowl.
Yeah.
So it's a really unlikely occurrence that we want to burn our tokens for charge, while ambas and best gods could.
Yeah.
So we have this edge, which is not bad.
No, true that.
And we will see. We have a very interesting power cycle, in my opinion.
Yeah, power cycle of the Terran is probably one of the best in the game.
Sure, because also Ivids have an interesting power cycle, but they want to burn a lot actually because they will have tons of power tokens they don't know what to do with, and so they will tend to burn, and of course also Nebulas and Taklons, but they are special cases.
Yeah.
So these are the final scorings. We are good at basically everything except for planet types.
Yeah, we are better planet types, good at everything, and super good at 1/2 final scoring objectives. So when the game is Gaia planets and satellites, so that that's when the Terrans have a huge red arrow painted on their back, and I would in general consider playing Terrans in any game where satellites is one of the final scoring. Not necessarily Gaia planets, but if one of the final scoring is satellites, I will always consider Terrans.
Sure, agree with that. Okay, so the next bullet point is round scoring, and this can lead us also to openings. So it's particularly useful, so we can deal with this. But what kind of sound was that? Anyway, what are the round scorings that we are looking for? We are also quite versatile with this.
Yes, we are, and I will make a general consideration about this point, that we have made a lot of guide in which we were suggesting, players to be very, to plan around round scoring objectives, and this was, to be very careful to take into consideration round scoring objectives, because these are very important. This is an important way to make points.
And we stand by that.
We stand by that.
We stand by that.
But it's also true that we, all the guys that we record, most of the guys that we recorded up until now, were about the so-called weaker factions. So factions that really need, all the help they can get, all the edge they can get in order to win a game. So now we are in a new territory. We're talking about Terrans. Terrans are a strong faction, which means that you are not so desperately dependent on round scoring bonuses as, like, for instance, the Gleans were. If you remember our Gleans guide, we say you really need these points that come from round scoring.
I think that with round scorings, it just dictates the order in which you are doing things. It doesn't. I mean, okay, maybe if it's 2 points per terraforming step, late in the game, we absolutely don't like that because we are the worst.
Yeah, we know that we will score 2 or 0 points.
2 or 0, and that's not good.
But the point is, the Terran can take that. So if round 6
because it's just one.
Yes, exactly. But I wouldn't say that I would consider picking Terrans because of the round score objectives that come out for round 1.
No. For round 1, no. But let's put it down. It's easy. We like a lot late game gaiaforming because we can, in the worst case, we can give up on some of our income from the PI and leave the gaiaformers where they are for like one round. And score like 6 points for each Gaia planet.
Yeah, exactly. If you have taken the appropriate. Just saying.
Well, also general mines. Why not? 2 points, 5 points per Gaia. Why not?
So late in the game, of course, 2 rounds of Gaia forming bonuses in rounds from 4 to 6. Let's say very good for Terrans. Terrans love that because they're gonna score. It depends on competition on Gaia planets. Of course,
there will be.
There will be. If you're being for some miracle left alone, then you can expect to score, from 9 to 12 points out of that scoring bonus alone, because you will probably get 3 Gaia planets with your 3 Gaia formers.
I mean, it could also be more.
It could be more, but
it often happens to me that I grab like 1 Gaia planet printed on the map. And then I build all my Gaia formers in any order. It happens.
Okay, yeah. If you can do that, well, happy birthday to you. But anyways, I think it's okay to think that you will be able to grab at least 2 Gaia formers down in the round where it really matters, and so you can score 6 to 8 points. Not bad at all.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
If you can do better, well, good for you. But 2 for each one is great.
And of course, mines is always good. It's not as many points as Gaia planets, but can be good.
We in general got an expensive faction, so that's fine. Ooh, I think that this could dictate a bit how we open along with the map, and it's the large buildings.
Yes.
And 2 points per advancement.
Yes.
Okay, that one is not. That round scoring is never great. I mean, unless you are Firax or maybe Neblas, but.
Well, there are. If it's round 6, that round scoring bonuses for a lot of factions, depending on the game you had, can be important.
Okay, Firax can be devastating with that, for example. But for us, if it's not super important. If it's like, we actually do not like that late in the game because we are not a really rushing faction on trucks.
Okay, we will come to that when we talk about Terran strategies and Terran openings and what it is exactly to do with Terrans.
But that's a favorite, I mean.
It's not our favorite, but I can imagine a scenario in which that is really good for Terrans.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that thing. Okay.
Yes, sure. But Matteo said a very important thing that I think in the end, the round scoring bonuses we have the more relations with, for good and for bad, is large buildings.
Large buildings, yeah.
Because if it's round 1, round 2, we like that because we open our PI. It's 5 points.
We know that we will.
We know that we will.
Because we are not obliged to do so. But
But I mean, the Terrans always open their PI round 1 or round 2, don't they?
No, they don't.
No, they don't. but in most games they do. Your PI is good. You want it open.
Okay, so especially let me say this. So we deal with this. So we are done with this.
Okay.
Round 1. Okay, round scoring bonuses. Let's say round 1 we have large buildings.
Yes.
Okay. If you're a starting player and if you're a beginner with Gaia Project, I'm talking to you who are listening right now. If you are at your first games at Gaia Project or with Terrans, always, I said that, Babuk, always open with your Planetary Institute round 1.
Yes.
That is the easiest way you can play Terrans.
Exactly.
It helps you with, getting along with the faction. It's not necessarily the best thing to do, but you're grabbing 5.
But it's rarely a bad thing.
It's okay. It's almost never a bad thing. It will also grant you an income both from the Gaia power, the tokens returning from the Gaia bowl, and of course, it has an income of 1 token and charge 4, which
Yes.
is very good in general,
yeah.
but that's a normal PI. Having said that, you are not forced to open your PI round 1. You can also open a research lab round 1.
Yes.
And then build as many mines as possible. You should always build as many mines as possible, but it's not very easy if you open with your PI. This is a bit more specialized opening, specialized not in, especially for, it's a bit for more experienced players, I would say. Sometimes it is necessary because you have to expand a lot before other players do. You have to set up, also you have to grab an early Gaia planets bonus. For example, the map dictates that, it depends. But
that's something that you do if you have a specific plan in mind.
Of
you
course.
already know how your round 1, 2, 3 are going to go.
During your first games with Terrans, always, and I mean that, always open your PI round 1, and that's it. Then we can talk about opening the research lab there, and we will talk about that, I think, when going to the research tracks. But I can say that right now, if Gaia Planets is like round 1, that can be a good opportunity for you. Of course, you will need QICs, but in that case, you will go up navigation, so that's an extra QIC, and we are at 2. Maybe you grab the booster, and that's 3, or maybe you charge, I don't know. But that can help you in grabbing Gaia Planets early, therefore taking advantage of the bonus. So these 2 openings are both possible. I think it is also possible an academy opening round 1, but that's super special. I don't recommend that. But in general,
we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna talk about Terran Academy round 1.
No, we're not. But a super duper normie game with Terrans. We are setting a standard here.
Yeah.
Is opening your PI round 1.
Yeah, and I don't really see a reason why Terran should open Academy. I think the guy that opens Academy with Terran is the same guy that goes up terraforming with Terrans. So try this. Impress me. Open Academy round 1 and take 3 bumps on terraforming with Terrans. And then you tell me how it goes.
Okay, now I want to do that. And it also helps because you are getting, the 2 ores from step 1 with your Academy. Hey, we're talking about round scoring, so 5 points for your Academy. You weren't thinking about that.
And this brings me back, so we can.
But seriously,
so we're coming full circle. I wanted to make this point that 5 points for large building is really bad for Terrans in the late games, in the late rounds of the game.
I say so.
Yeah, because Terrans are a faction that do not particularly need to open their academies. Well, of course they can. They're normally busy doing other things. However, I often play Terran games in which I open just 1 or even none of my academies. And you sure won't have your PI to open round 5, say, because it's already on the board. And so it's not our favorite round scoring bonus for the late game.
I say this here. You can open an early QIC Academy if it's a super good game for Terrans under any respect, but there is exactly nothing on top of the navigation track. And there's something super duper good, say, on top of, I don't know, economy, a weird track. So you're saying, okay, I will not go up navigation,
and I will use QIC.
I use my QICs from the academy, and while looking for grabbing that. Don't do this at home unless you know what you are doing.
No, we're also
don't open with academies.
Also, if you're in a situation in which you need to use UAQ to go around and get planets, you have not been listening to what we said before. We say, look at the map and make sure that you have planets at a distance of 2. So now you don't have these planets at a distance of 2, and now you're coming back, well, I'm complaining, I have to use my QIC for moving. Yeah, no, that's your fault. You haven't been paying attention.
Well, you can also use the QICs to move 2 spaces. But,
okay.
But that's super suboptimal. Okay. No, we also like clusters for that. Of transients, because we don't need navigation. So maybe
we don't need the early navigation.
We can put an early gaiaform and that. Don't use that. But anyway.
And so, more or less, this is it for round scoring bonuses.
We miss trade stations. Trade stations, I think, are good. We have this in common with Firax. Are good in the late game. Because we tend to build a lot of mines, and we can time that. We can plan for that, but okay, these are not the main round scoring bonuses we look for when deciding if picking Terrans, okay?
Exactly. I mean, 4 points for training session in, like, say, round 5 can be good for everyone. Can be good or bad for every faction.
Sure.
Of course, Firax are particularly happy, but
especially if it follows a Gaia round bonus.
Yeah.
And then there's Terrans. Okay,
yeah.
This is super in theory, however, because one always thinks that, oh wow, round 4 was mines, round 5 trade stations, and so no, that will never work because you will always need like one lab that you need for the 10-point trucks.
Exactly.
That never works, but in practice, it just works for Gleans the first round. Gleans are the coolest faction of this game. Why do we even talk about other factions? Just play Gleans. They're super cool.
Just let's remake the Glean guide all over again, just for the sake of it.
No, what did we gaiaforming guide? Anyway, so round scoring are these ones. In the end, we like late mine build. We always like mine building.
Every type of mine building except for terraforming steps.
Of course, large buildings can be okay, like the last round.
Yes, I'm not saying large buildings are okay. I'm saying that Terrans can do without that.
Sure.
So, better guide than large buildings.
So, well, if we have like round 1, large buildings, round 4 to 6 mines, that's a super duper good Terrans game.
Yes, exactly.
We don't have late terraforming, but I wouldn't pick Terrans based on round scoring bonus.
Exactly. So
this is okay. This is the takeaway message. Maybe is the take-home message is that this is not a super important factor.
Exactly. We are not so dependent as other factions are on round scoring bonuses.
Boosters.
Which brings us to after round bonuses. You have round boosters. Yeah, it's a different thing. In case you didn't know. What is it that we like? Well, can we get this out of the way and just say it?
Okay, 1 ore and 2 points per trade station. Who cares?
Yeah,
it was this one?
No, it's the other way around. So, 4 credits
and 1 point
for Grand Pride. We really like that.
Super duper good.
We really like that. You know why? It's not that the Terrans are a particularly poor faction. They are very rarely starved for resources because they have all these ways in which they can,
everybody loves credits. But everybody loves credits.
But the point is that if you get these super juicy 4 credits from the round boosters, then you can spend all your income, or all your PI income on ore, and you're gonna have a very good, rich round.
Yes.
So that's
power income in general.
So that's just good. That just makes a good game even better to have credits.
We tend to have more ore than credits from our structures because we like to build a lot of mines, Gaias, and so on. And so, if we have that booster was clearly thought with was clearly designed with gaiaforming factions in mind. Of course, because it gives us even more points. These Gaia planets really give us a lot of points, and also helps with the credit income, which we don't have since we have all these mines in play. That's possibly one of the main boosters. Okay, as well, 1 ore and 1 points per mine, not as good as for Lantid say, but still a good one.
Of course, especially in the late rounds of the game. So all these, this scoring bonuses, they become more important.
Okay. Trade stations, I already said that. Super irrelevant
boosters. Yeah.
No, it's good. In the very last round is a good one because we like to end our game with all of our trade station open. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Large buildings.
Large buildings, not our favorite for the same reason. Because at the beginning of the game, that is good because it's if you open your PI, it's 5 points. It's 4 points. Sorry. However, consider this. That booster could not be as good for Terrans as it is for other factions that start with their PI, because all that it does for you is it brings all the power tokens that are in the start, the game, in ball 1. It brings it, I needed to look at the board. Man,
it helps, you see.
Man, I'm rusty. So it takes all these 4 tokens that are in ball 1 to ball 2. But it doesn't bring any token in Bowl 3, which is what normally happens with every other faction. And the risk is that you are forced to place your round 1 gaiaformer before you have charged enough to make anything, very relevant with this power. It does happen to me.
Yeah,
so if you are in an unlucky game where people is really, focused on not making you charge, or maybe it just doesn't happen because the map is shaped in such a way that you don't charge round 1, then that boost is entirely wasted, because in the end you need to place your gaiaformer, and then at that point it is not relevant anymore.
We also don't like to burn.
And we don't like to burn.
So it can almost hinder us. Correct. No, correct. Well, instead, we have a very weird relationship, in my opinion, with the 1 ore and 2 tokens round booster. 2 tokens, 2 extra tokens.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's weird because we can grab that round 1, and as the first move in the game, we just lay down a gaiaformer.
Yeah.
So we are very efficient at charging.
Because everything that is left is 4 tokens in Bowl 2.
Except that we are not. Because we didn't do the most popular first move, which is building a trade station, so that charging from the opponents is more efficient. I don't know. I see lots of people doing that, and I don't like that, actually. I don't.
I agree with Matteo here. I see a lot of people, playing Terrans and just jumping on the 1 ore and 2 power tokens round 1. I understand that, but as Matteo said, then you will end up, charging not so much because you don't have any trading station open. Of course, the reasoning can be reversed, and you can say, yeah, but you open your trading station, but then you're just, moving stuff, a lot of, all the tokens that you have in Bowl 1 to Bowl 2. Yes, the point is that Terrans, round 1, they tend not to have an exceedingly good power situation. So if you're playing Terran, it's very unusual that round 1 you'll be the first to grab the 2 wars action, or I don't know what.
Oh, well, you can get the large buildings one, build a trade station, and then as your second action do an efficient power action. Why not?
Yeah. Maybe if you're lucky, if you're in a situation in which you're charging.
But I agree also because, as you said, we are not super duper fond of our large buildings, so we're not scoring much from that.
Exactly.
And but we were talking about the 1 ore and 2 tokens. We already have lots of power. We tend not to burn it. We tend to open our PI.
Yeah.
How many tokens do we need?
Exactly.
What do we want to do? Like lay down 24 satellites? What's the goal?
That's my point exactly. Matteo is right. So you can do that. You can take that booster round 1 and you make your super smart move in which you just set aside the 6 that you have in Bowl 1. But my question is, really? Isn't there anything better that you can do? So was that. So my question is, okay, you can do that. I'm not saying it's a bad opening, but my question is, really, there wasn't another booster that was better than that? Because there are a lot of very strong boosters in this game. You can have extra movement, you can have extra QAC, you can have a free terraforming step round 1. Maybe that's useful because it brings you closer to other transit planets, or I don't know what.
But since we are like for round 1 ore bonus boosters, I'd take the 1 ore and 1 knowledge every day.
And also one ore, 1 knowledge.
That's incredibly good booster. It also helps because we will have a problem round 2 with going up the science tracks. If we build the RPI especially.
Yes.
So 1 knowledge helps more than beginner players think. Helps a lot actually.
So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying there is probably, unless the round booster situation is really dire, there is probably something better that you can take. And whatever, you will just have not super great power situation round 1. That's a Terran game. Terran can totally deal with that. And you don't need the extra, even if satellites, it's a mission, you just don't need the 2 extra tokens.
You just don't. Let's talk about the 3 expansion boosters that you were naming, like 2 credits and 1 QAC. Step booster and steps or reaction and 2 credits and +3 range and charge 2. I think these 3 are all good for us. Not, they don't make or break our game, but
no,
they are
but
good.
these are always good. They're good for every faction.
Gleans don't like the QAC one, for example.
Glint's don't like that. But yeah, I guess that Terrans, they extract a little less value from the range 3 and charge 2, because that charge 2, it really doesn't mean a lot to us.
No, but the range 3 can be good to reach like distant clusters, stuff like that, like, as it always does. So.
Of course. So, I mean, that booster is probably one of the strongest boosters in the game round 1.
No
okay,
doubt.
so let's get this out of the way. Having said that, that booster is super good. Also because round 1, it helps you a little with the power cycle, and it doesn't. Well,
no, but in our case it doesn't.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's
No, in our case it just doesn't. Because
exactly. So, but the Terrans, they're just stuck with their exactly. So this is all I'm saying. That booster remains always super good. Terrans extract maybe a little less value from it than your average faction.
There's also another aspect of taking it round 1, and it's that you are not leaving it to your opponents.
Yeah,
because they would extract that value. So maybe be careful.
True.
I don't know.
And although we have said that Terran are not a terraforming faction, there is absolutely nothing wrong in going for the step 1.
I think that's one booster. Of my favorite ones.
It's very good, and maybe it can really help you positionally. You take a very important planet that will help, white planet or red planet that will help you later on in the game.
Yeah, I usually like that one with Terrans. I don't know why. I know. That's because, as I said, my ideal round 1 would be like the standard PI opening is PI and as many mines as possible. Of course, if you already have 2 in play and can build only the third one, well, think if it's important, because you are not getting the extra ore after that. But the step booster greatly helps in building like 4 mines. That's hard because you need to grab a lot of resources, but that helps. I like it. And as you said, it also helps with the positional advantages. Maybe you're also stealing an early planet from Itars or Ibits, and that would be will have its value. Also, you don't. I mean, the PI is quite cheap to build. You always have the opportunity to build more mines. It's not like the academy, because you already are struggling to building the academy, so you know that you will always use this. And in the end, it also gives you from the beginning another planet type for the basic tech tile. So I really like that. In general, I think that the strong scoring boosters are the 2 mines ones for us.
Yeah,
and the other ones are basically all good, except for like the large buildings. It probably with the large buildings that it's stronger for the others. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's the problem. And trade stations. That booster.
So all I'm saying about large buildings, both when it comes to the round booster and round scoring bonuses, I'm not saying it's bad for Terrans.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying that I rarely have both my academies open with Terrans in round 5, say. That it's very rare. I mostly tend to play open, and if I can only play focusing on my research labs with Terrans, I'd say that is better. Because Terrans do not like to spend all these resources on a single building when they could be building other stuff. There could be expanding, building mines, etc. It's not as strong for the Terrans, both because of the weird charging situation, and both because maybe Terrans can get 8 points out of that, but rarely 12 points out of that, except maybe round 6.
Yeah, the problem is that if Taclons are in play, that booster will give them a ton of points. Exactly. It will help them a lot. Yeah. It will be very good also for Neblas, say, but we are not getting that much.
Exactly.
So better if that's not in play. But anyway, we of course you can win the game nonetheless, but don't look for that. I mean, we score with our minds, not with our large buildings.
There are many factions that love that booster. The Tacos, the Neblas, the Ivits, more than we do. Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we start talking about technology. I just like to say a few things quickly about our power cycle.
Yeah.
Go for it. As Simone was saying, we are not very good at grabbing early, efficient 4 power actions. And I would expand that in general, because since we charge, we charge with our PI in general, but we don't charge it that much. We have a big advantage because we have lots of tokens in bowl 2
Yes.
in general at the beginning of the round. So what are we good at? We are very good at being patient with our power. We are good at having a lot of tokens in our bowl 3 and then spend it like in the most efficient way.
Yeah.
Be paying attention to the tempo of our gaiaforming. So we like to charge like 7, 8 tokens, even 10 tokens in our bowl 3, and then spend maybe 3 for an ore when we need that. Like 3 for an ore and 1 for 1 credit. Lay down a gaiaformer, thus having 1 or 0 in bowl 1, and stuff like that. Terrans are very good at this, at managing power in this way. And we are one of the factions which likes a lot the 3 knowledge power action.
Exactly. Yep.
We like that action a lot because basically nobody else
Because
does
we're
that.
we're one of the few that can take the power action.
Yeah, it's Ivits, it's us. Well, of course, Nevlas do whatever they want.
Nevlas and Taklons.
Tacklons,
I don't know.
but it's a bit harder for them.
Well, I do not hate that when I play Taklons. So the point is that there are many factions that do not even ever get the chance to take the...
No, but they don't have the tokens.
They
That's
don't
it.
have the tokens, or it's very rare that they have the possibility of waiting until they have 7 tokens in bout 3. That's rare.
I think I have never done that with Lantids, for example, in my life.
Yeah, well, okay.
I have played
You're really...
tens of games with Lantids, and I've never done that because it's impossible. No, but just to say, it's for some factions, it's literally impossible.
Yeah.
Or so.
I agree.
We
It's
can
true.
do that. I'm not saying every round, but quite often.
But often enough, yes.
And this is where the knowledge bonus. Sorry, we didn't talk about the 3 points per lab and 1 knowledge booster.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
That is one we like.
Yes.
Especially
because of the extra knowledge and because we like our research labs. So yeah,
we tend to not open our. I mean, it's not necessary to open our academies. We like the booster, and those are 2 1 knowledge boosters which pair very well with the 3 knowledge power action.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Be careful with your power cycle. This is my take-home message. Like, do your actions, then charge, of course, if you want to. Sometimes you will not want to spend for charging because you are going to gaiaform. And that's okay. You don't have to always accept charge. You can, especially in the end, say, no, I'm not charging these 2 tokens. I'm laying down a gaiaformer. Try to look at what your opponents are doing and what you think are going to do. And do these actions when you think that they won't charge you. So you can then lay down a gaiaformer and being efficient with that. I think that a perfect, ideally, but a good management of the power cycle is what makes or breaks a Terran game.
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I think, what Matteo is saying, I agree, it's very, very important, and there is a tendency in Gaia Project, in this game, for every round of Gaia Project to start with the power action war. So all the factions are lined up at the starting line, and as soon as they pull the trigger, everybody goes for the 2 ores power action, 7 credits power action, maybe 2 knowledge power action. That's not so coveted as the other 2 normally, but sometimes it is, especially around 2. My point is, our point is, Terrans do not participate in that race. Because it's more efficient. At the end of the day, it's more efficient if you're just patient. If you wait until all your tokens have been moved or have moved from bowl 2 to bowl 3, and then you spend. And I agree with Matteo. Well, in general, just don't accept charge if you have stuff in bowl 1. But the point is, you should never have stuff in bowl 1, except because you spend and then you place a gaiaformer and you empty bowl 1. That's the efficient.
That's the problem with the power actions. Okay, they are more efficient in general.
Yes.
And I'm not saying don't take D2 or.
No.
I will never say that.
No.
But okay, maybe with nervous. Anyway, but if you make free actions, you can immediately
Exactly.
freeze those tokens and be super duper efficient with your
Exactly.
cycle. Remember that 4 power will give you 1 QAC. I love that free action, also because there is no other way to get QACs with power. That is a very good action. Terrans can also think about taking as many QAC actions as they can in the mid to late game. And if you don't know what to do, like store, stockpile QACs, of course, grab free ore. Free conversions are nothing to sneeze at. Okay.
Especially, well, maybe if you're a faction that you know that has to go through a lot of efforts just to put 4 tokens in bout 4, then yes. But when you are the Terrans and it's very
Both 3, you mean? Okay.
in ball 3, but for the Terran it's normal to end the to get at the mid round to have like 10 tokens in ball 3. At that point it starts to begin to to be really interesting, all the things that you can do with this power.
Up to that point, accept charge without
Accept
hesitation.
charge,
Accept everything, like 2 points for 3. Yeah, sure, spend them, no problem. But
charge is better for you than it is for other, because your tokens start from ball 2.
But if you have like 3 tokens in ball 2 and 4 in ball 3, don't rush for one of the good power actions. Don't rush. Don't do that. It's not necessary. Wait. Of course, if you have like 7 in ball 3 and there's like the 2 ores, 2 knowledge, power actions, okay, why not? I mean, just do it.
Sure.
Or if you desperately need it, it can be. I'm not saying don't do that. But in general, try to be efficient in that way that I described. That's especially effective for Terrans and Ivids in general.
And I think, you just wait, and at the end of the round, when everybody else has spent their power and there is no risk that no one else will take any more power actions, then you see what's left, and you go for that. And normally what's left, it's very often you will have as Matteo was saying, the 3 knowledge action left, and consider that. Think about that.
That's a satisfying one, in my opinion, to get. And it also pairs very well with those boosters. Okay, so time for the next big conversation, which is the technology.
Biggest conversation.
Okay. It's actually easy. I mean, we like 3 tracks.
Yeah. At this point, we need to discuss, I think, what the 2 most common openings for Terrans are. So we already said that never, for any reason, you should go up the terraforming track. So that's out of the way. I would go as far as to say that you shouldn't go up the terraforming track to take the 2 ores. I know it's tempting, but since you will not take other bumps on the track, that is better avoided, because that's a bump you are wasting, basically. Of course, that depends on the position of the basic tactiles.
So for newer players, what it means is that you get 4 points per advancement only from the 3rd one on. And so he says wasted, meaning that won't net you any points.
Exactly. So when I play Terrans, I try to play all the game without ever taking the 2 ores from the first step on the terraforming track, unless I plan to do more. And you say, hey, you just say that you shouldn't do more. Yeah, okay, I'm getting to this in a moment. So that track, just forget about it. Okay, let's set aside also the economy track. Terrans normally, they do not climb the economy tracks. I said normally. I have played mostly out of boredom when I was a strong Gaia player, that I didn't know what to do with this game anymore. I started playing Terran games going up economy just for fun, just for the sake of it, just for the lol. All right, Terrans can do the economy game. So I have played very, very good Terran games, jumping up at economy level 2, round 1. Yes, you can do that. That can work. That is not a standard Terran opening in any sense of the term.
You probably have to do that if there's a super important tactile at the bottom of the economy track or on top of it.
Yeah.
But
the point is that
for the first games with Terrans, don't do that. It's not super easy.
But honestly, even after playing hundreds of games with Terrans, I would probably not pick Terrans I don't pick Terrans if there is 2 points per Gaia planet on top of economy, just with the idea that I will climb economy and get that tile.
No,
I can probably pick another faction and do better.
Especially because there will be like an Hajj, a Firak, which will get the tile just not to leave it to me.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. So the problem is that sometimes that tile is taken out of spite, just to deny you the points. Maybe a faction will net 2-4 points with a tile, but it will deny you 14 or something.
And that makes a difference of 16 points.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It's always relevant.
So if your opponents can do that, they will do that. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is that economy track is not a standard Terran game. You can do it. You can do it for fun. You can do it to prove the world that you're very strong Terran player, Gaia player, but we will not discuss this option further in this game, because there's a very niche occurrence.
Our tracks are navigation. This one is not 100% necessary. Mm-hmm. I have played a very good Terran game going up the QIC track, for example, instead of the navigation.
All right.
But this already is not a basic way of playing Terrans. In general, we will go up navigation also because at the top of navigation sits the Lost Planet. That can be useful if we want to win structures
or sectors.
So navigation in general is good for us.
Or if we want to stay competitive on planet types. I'm joking. We don't want to stay competitive on planet types.
Don't do that. But it can bring our total to 5. Why not?
Why not?
Because we don't care. That's why. Yeah. Also, we like, of course, we said that all the time, it's obvious, it's self-evident, the gaiaforming track, who would have said that? Everybody. I have received lots of questions, I was reviewing them now, regarding the tempo of going up the Gaia track. I will leave that to you, but of course, we get the question, we are going to answer that, and that's an important point, of course. And the third track, that QIC, why not? But I mean,
like every faction.
We're not Xenos.
Who doesn't like to go up? QAC track from 5 or 6.
But our third main track, I would say, is science.
The science track.
Simone, you have I'm generous, like 5 minutes to discuss Terran technology tracks.
All right, the science track for Terrans, it's all or nothing. So either you want to play a Terran game which is strongly science-oriented, or you just ignore the science track across the game. So there are 2 possible Terran games, except the ones in which you go up in CIQ or early economy, the weird ones. But the standard Terran games are either you accept the idea that you will score very little points on the tech tracks, and so you will score around, say, 20 points probably, and then your tracks will probably be navigation and Gaia, or you go for the science-rich Terran game, which that is my favorite Terran game. So when I can play Terran like that, that's my favorite Terran game. But that is a game that requires not a lot of competition on Gaia. Because what you do is you just start your game going up science.
It pairs very well with the PI opening. Vabuk was stressing that, and I think he's right. Anyway, sorry.
And so the first thing that you do is to go up on level 4 on science before doing any other advancement. So around 1, 2, 3 are you're just busy doing that. You're just busy in going up the science track.
Okay, it will feel that you are doing nothing as you are suffering. Please trust us. Bear with us.
Yes.
Keep it up. Keep it up, boy. Keep it up.
You can do that because you already are at level 1 on the gaiaforming track. So every round, no matter what, you can always play a gaiaformer, even though you're not taking bumps on the Gaia track. You're just taking bumps on the science track. But when you are there, starting... So this is a game that transformed Terrans in late bloomers, of course, because in the first 3 rounds of the game, you won't do much. You will place your gaiaformer, build a mine,
Some say it's a bit boring, but I've said this. I haven't read this.
But But from round 4 on, you will start getting a lot of knowledge points. You will and you will have a lot of choices regarding the tracks that you can then climb. At that point, you will start going up very fast, both navigation and gaiaforming. And the point is, if you have no competition on gaiaforming and you can take your time in taking those transit planets, then that's the perfect Terran game, because you will get a lot of, at the end of the game, you will score a lot of points from Gaia planets. You will score a lot of points from the Gaia track itself, and you will also score a lot of points from all the science tracks. And God forbids that you are also even able to get the top of the science track, which is often the case because the science track is not as strongly contested as the economy track. And at that point, you can easily score 40 points on the science track, in addition to all the points that you score in a normally Terran game. So that's a 200-point Terran game. I'm not saying it is every time, but that's how. That's a rather. So this is a faction that is one of the few factions in this game that has a rather standardized path to 190 or more points.
That can be devastating, and I also like about this path that you have not talked about advanced tiles, because you don't need them.
Yeah,
I love that. You just need the top of the science track and of the Gaia track to score a lot of points.
And that's a lot of points. And by the way, open brackets, that's why when we were discussing round scoring bonuses, we said, well, the 2 points per advancement is not very important for Terrans unless it is round 6 and you've been playing this game. In this case, that's worth a lot of points for you.
That's again, that can be devastating, and we were discussing before we recorded that this is the way where Terrans win a game where they are like the only ones gaiaforming, but there is also another player, say a Taklon, who is scoring crazy without gaiaforming, and they have to compete with them. This is the way. I think that this is almost you can do this also if you have some competition in gaiaforming, but this is perfect if you don't have competition in gaiaforming and want to, maybe it's your 10th game and now you want to score those crazy scoring you read on the Discord, you read on the forums, and this is how you do that. Go up science and then navigation 2 and then gaiaforming. Now we see,
but remember, if you have a strong competitor on Transdim, that is not the way to go, because you will be too slow, and by the time that you start expanding and you start climbing navigation, start climbing gaiaforming, most of the Transdims will be gone, probably the one that you had easy access to. So it is a very powerful game, but it's also a very dangerous one for Terrans. I would never play that, for instance, against an Etar, probably, unless it is. But you never know, because maybe the Etars they will make a non-gaiaforming game. Sometimes they do that, but you cannot know when the game starts.
That's suicidal. And the problem with this game is that those players know that you are strong. I mean, Terrans have this problem somehow. We're a famously strong faction. And so people will actively hinder us. I have recently played a game with 3 super strong and veteran expert players where I was Terrans. I was the only one gaiaforming at the beginning, and they were actively talking to each other, say, okay, guys, now who is going up Gaia? Who is going to put an obstacle to Terrans? Because otherwise they will win the game, which they won nonetheless. Anyway,
that's the point. So the point is not. So I don't know if we have a how to stop Terran section at the end of this episode, but
let's say it now. Why not?
Let's say that this is now. I don't think the answer to that will be okay. I'm this random faction that halfway through my game I will start climbing the gaiaforming track just to hinder the Terrans. That will not work. The Terrans are better than you at doing that. They started long before you did, and also you are committing suicide, because you can I'm at Shalas and now I will start round 4 I will start going up the gaiaforming track. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work for you, so your game is gone. That's for sure. And you will probably won't do enough damage to the Terran to really make a difference. If you want to hinder the Terrans, you hinder Terrans when you pick factions. Then you pick a strong gaiaformer faction and you compete on the same level with them from the beginning.
Yeah, as usual, we are talking about the 4 players game mostly. And this is...
Yes,
but,
sure.
I still am convinced that the best way to balance games is by picking like two factions which are more specialized in terraforming and 2 factions which are more specialized in gaiaforming. This is the way. So you don't have one player which is good at what he or she does and is left alone doing that. But also the game will be more varied because there won't be one player who is going to shoot in the leg in order to try and stop and probably fail doing so.
Yeah.
The player who has been left alone. In that game, it was Hajj who tried to gaiaform.
Ironically enough.
Okay, this is time for my brackets. We will talk about this when talking about Hajj. But I have never seen Hajj gaiaforming doing well. Like never, literally never.
Yeah, why should they?
Why should they? I mean, people, you charge a ton with Hajj. Don't mess with your power cycle. It's precious. You are good at that. But anyway. And it's very difficult for another faction to hinder a specialized gaiaforming faction. First of all, it's difficult that they succeed in doing so.
Exactly.
In hindering them. Also because you have to grab the 3 points per Gaia planet tile, which you wouldn't want otherwise. It's not good. And while scoring good themselves. So I think that the balance is that one. Anyway, we are talking about instead the scenario where we have, say, an aggressive Itar with PI.
Yeah.
And okay, so to again answer Arun, are we going up? Are we giving up on gaiaforming if there's an aggressive Itar?
No, we are not.
Are we leaving the ground to those furry, stinky?
No,
bears?
and for 2 reasons. The first one is that also Itars, if they are left unchecked on the Gaia track, they become too strong. And when it comes to Terrans, also because we are not good at doing anything else, so we cannot give up the transiting planets. And as for the tempo on the Gaia track, the other question I think that Arun or Babu...
No, it was Mglier, but it's quite a common one.
Yeah, at the core. So
also, timing of going up the Gaia track, since it feels super important, and it is, Mike.
Yes, it is. So if you're playing, in the dream scenario that I was describing before, in which you have the liberty of going up the science track, then you start climbing Gaia probably in round 4. And also dreamy scenario is that in which you can remember that you have a round with Terran in which if you really plan for that, you can put 13 power tokens in the Gaia ball, and so at the start of the next round you will get a huge huge amount of resources out of that. That is not easy, but if you can do that in just a single round, so you place a gaiaformer, you put 6 in the Gaia ball, then you go up to level 3 of the Gaia track, place a gaiaformer, you put 4, another 4, it's 10, then you go up again on the 4th level of the Gaia track, and then you put the last gaiaformer and you put an extra 3 for a total of 13. That's not always happen. That it is difficult to have the famous Terran 13 power tokens round, but I would say it's relatively easy to do the 10, at least to put at least 10 in a single round.
Okay, so basically, sorry, I was smiling because I remember our friend Alberto, who elevated this to an art.
Yeah.
to having the biggest initial income with Terrans as possible.
And I think the first time that he managed to do that, his comment was, the legends were true.
It is possible. It is possible. It's not. It shouldn't be a goal. Of course, you need to be at the gaiaforming level 2. So having... Oh, we forgot that before. You also get 3 power tokens from going up the Gaia track. We truly have an excessive amount of power with Terrans. So if we open PI round 1, our bare minimum is 16.
So I would say that it's ideally in the science game. It would be really good to be able to place 3 gaiaformers round 5 and 3 gaiaformers round 6. I have played games.
So meaning placing them around
No.
4 and 5.
No, placing, yes.
Because
exactly.
otherwise, okay.
Exactly. But that's normally you won't be able to do that because you will need some bumps on navigation. You can just, go up science and Gaia completely forgetting about navigation. Also because, but at that point, the close by transiting planets will be finished because you have taken them already and you need to expand more.
Of course, you could have an ideal map and not needing that.
Yeah, of course, but that's probably not gonna happen.
That's difficult.
So I would say it's even okay, placing three Gaia formers in round 1, 2, and 3, then 2 round 4, and then 3 round 5.
Yeah. Total of 8. That's fine.
For a total of around 8 Gaia planets. It depends if you're also
8 transiting, because you can also take the printed Gaias.
So exactly.
11
for
Gaias.
For a total of maybe 9 Gaia planets.
And 9 to 11 in general.
But 9, it's already super good because it means you will get, if you get the top of the gaiaforming track, you will get 13 points, which is a very good amount of points.
And since we're talking about tracks, get the top. That's super important.
Yeah.
Be very, 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 very careful about that. I like to always be like around round 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or 5 for sure, but at the top of the Gaia track with a federation at my disposal, in order to maybe get a few less points, a few less points, but getting that damn top, because I never want that to be stolen from
exactly.
me.
If you are competing with the other gaiaforming faction in play, always remember that it will be 4 plus X more points for them and 4 plus X less points for you. So that's a huge difference. Okay, so if maybe it's round 5 and you still you could place another 3 Gaias on round 6, but you have the opportunity of stealing that from your opponent, then do that, even if it's just 10 points, 9 points. It's okay. It's better 9 points today than minus 24 tomorrow.
Also remember that 4 is correct, but get used to reading that 4 as an 8. Because you are getting 4 points just for going up.
Yes. That is true of all the
bumps,
of all the levels 5 of all the tracks, including the Gaia one.
But
so let's
if you read that as an 8, you will want that. You will, and you have to want. You need to want that, because that will be a problem, a huge problem. And this is also why Baltacs are such a problem for us, because they can do that basically whenever they want. And if there is a Baltac in play, that becomes a war of nerves, in my opinion.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And that becomes very, very... But the good thing is that they are very bad at terraform. At federating. So not very bad. Bad.
Yes, they are very bad at federating.
They are very bad. They are very bad because
Baltacs
are very bad and full stop.
Exactly. But they're particularly very bad at forming federations.
Forming federations.
So let's discuss the other Terran game, the one in which we start going up navigation. Because the point is that anyways, the Terrans, your first bump will never be gaiaforming. Okay? That makes no sense. Never. So what you do if you don't go up science because the circumstances do not allow that, then go up navigation. And at that point, it would be really good to get to the level 2 of navigation round 1. And in order to do that, you need to build a research lab, which means that you will only open your PI round 2. So you really need to consider what it is that you want to do at this point. Both openings are perfectly possible. It just takes some planning. So this is a personal opinion. Maybe Matteo will disagree with me, but my point is, if you want to go for that round 1 research lab opening, go for it. Just be sure that you will be able to open PI round 2. To me, that is really important. I really don't like having to wait round 3 to open PI with Terran. I'm talking about optimizing your advantages here.
So this is... no, I disagree. I recently played this game I was talking about. I opened with my research lab.
Mm-hmm.
Round 2, I opened my... No, it was round 3, I think. Anyway, I opened the academy, which was quite early. The QIC academy, by the way. But that's because I do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I opened my PI in round 4, I think. the point is that the PI gives you a nice income, super nice income, which is dependent on placing gaiaformers.
Yes.
That's the problem. But on its own, it also gives you the charge for, so
Yeah.
that helps. But the lab opening is not to be underrated, because on its own, it gives you a knowledge point, which is the equivalent of 4 power.
Sure.
And also, you can have an income tile with you should have an income tile with your lab. So the two have similar value. If you open your PI round 2, that's amazing. You won't always be able to afford that. The problem is that because you have opened your lab round 1, and along with your lab, you will have open.
Yes, a trading station and a mine. I'm talking here.
No, I mean, I like to open lab and as many mines as possible, like 4, because I'm
that's
going become going navigation 2. That's it. If you open your lab, your trade station, that's you mean the so-called generic opening?
Yeah, generic opening.
Oh, that's another way. I like to open lab and many mines, but here I think that.
Yes, as long as you can open 3 other mines, because you don't want to end up with the.
No, I end up with 4 to 6.
All right, yeah, with an income of at least 4.
Sure.
Or
sure.
On the next round, yes.
It's not necessary. You can, but I get the point where you say I like.
So you don't want. I'm just saying the very obvious consideration that you don't want to be stuck with the. Worthless mine open,
sure. The third one.
The third one, yes.
I see that. My only point is that if you start with navigation 2, you will want to get the most out of that.
Yeah.
And so if you open lots of mines, you are also getting map presence, which is important.
Yes,
later.
Sure.
And so that's why I like to open a lot of mines. Also, credits are easier to get from power than ore is. But if you really feel that you need your PI around 2 because you see that you can place gaiaformers down with ease and you want that income. I don't think I've ever done that, but I don't see why not. Maybe you can grab around 2 large buildings bonus. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's totally doable. A lot of factions can do that. Open lab round 1 and PI round 2. What I'm saying is that 2 things. First, your PI is really good, so why not opening it? It's really worth. It can be worth a lot of resources. So what I'm saying is that better sooner than later. And the second thing is, yes, these resources are dependent on you placing like gaiaformers. But as we have been constantly repeating from the beginning of this episode, if you are not playing gaiaformers, why are you playing Terrans?
Okay, I see that. Super quick thing. Sorry. Why it is technically possible to open with lab and PI?
Technically possible, yes.
I don't recommend that.
No,
I've seen an old BGG thread where they recommend doing this, and I think that's wrong. I just recommend that with Nevlas and Firax, as we have already done.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
Don't do that with Terrans. I don't recommend that because it's super hard to expand them. You will have a very hard round 2 at that point, because really you will start with an income of 1 ore, period. Oh, correct, but you have lots of income from your PI. Maybe
it's 6. It's not like really a lot.
You will likely also have an income but it's hard. It's hard.
It's very dangerous, in my opinion. Also, it's very hard to pull off around 1. But even if you can technically do that, ask yourself, do you really want to do this? I don't know.
I've been talking a bit about tiles. Maybe we want to address those.
Yes.
The
advanced tech tiles and basic tech tiles.
Yeah, advanced ones are. It's easy. We're not good at rushing tile.
No, we're not rushers.
So buttons. Sorry, buttons. This again is not the guide for you.
No.
Sorry.
It happened again.
Oh. I'm sorry.
The 3-ore button is still sitting there, taking dust on the top of some god-forgotten tech track. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So sad. They're my next frontier, and now I want to grab as many buttons as possible.
All right.
I just like that.
We'll call it the button game.
Correct. 2 points per Gaia. Amazing.
Obviously.
Late game tiles, late game advanced tile. 2 points per Gaia, amazing. 3
Yes.
points per lab, good. But again, maybe we take them at round 4. So good, but not the best.
Yeah, I don't remember ever playing a single Terran game in which I took that tile. Not because it's particularly bad. I just thinking now,
No, but me
and I
neither.
don't remember. I don't remember ever doing that.
No, but me neither. That's I mean, that in theory that's good because as you said, our academies are not super necessary. But okay, they are. If we
I
want to favor.
mean, maybe if you're playing the Terra non-science game and that tile is on top of science, and you know the stars align, then maybe. But
Okay, but there in that case there will be Neblas and Ivits which are killing them each other in order to get that tile. So you will arrive super late at the party, not good.
And by the way, this brings me to another. I open another bracket, and the bracket is since we're saying okay, but what to do to what factions are good to play against Terrans and what faction the Terrans do not want to see in play. Well, one of these factions is the Ivits. I mean, if the Ivits are in play, you probably cannot do the Terra non-science game because the Ivits will be playing the same game and they're better than you at playing that game. So
in general, the Ivits are better than you at what they do. So,
yeah, Ivits are just better than you.
On the other hand, Ivits are not super duper good at gaiaforming. Often they do that.
No, but I'm talking about the science track.
No, but this is good for us because if they go up science, they want to go up gaiaforming. Super good for us. Even if they go gaiaforming, I'm not worried about Ivits. I'm just better than they are.
Yeah, often Ivits stop at gaiaforming 1 maybe.
Sure.
I mean, you can see the occasional crazy Ivits game full gaiaforming. I mean, not crazy. I mean, they can have a very good game.
That happens when they have the 3 point per federation top of Gaia. Speaking about that tile, is it good for us? I don't think so.
The point is, okay, can we just stop talking about that tile? Because if the tile is in play, Ivits will be in play, and Ivits will take the tile, and I don't even know why the tile exists, because it completely breaks the game, because Ivits exist in the game. I don't know.
But I like that with Lantids. I love it.
So if you're in a game in which that tile is in play, and Ivits are not in play, and you can actually thinking of maybe taking that, and I don't know what game is that, because somebody
That's the game where it's on top of navigation. And in that case, Ambas will take it from under your nose. Exactly. Or best codes. No, we're not good at those tiles.
So the point is that
we're good at late game.
Exactly. The point is that tiles that give you point over time are not good for the Terrans because, as Matteo said, Terrans are not rushers, and so somebody else, the Tacrons, the Ambas, the Ivits, the strong factions, they probably got there before. I mean, even the best codes will probably beat you on navigation. Sure. So just forget about those tiles. So
2 points per Gaia. Amazing.
2 points per Gaia, it's your tile.
2 points per mine.
2 points per mine, it's good. Why not? 2 points per sector. That's really interesting.
That's good.
For Terran.
You know what else is great for Terrans? Which people underestimate a lot? 4 points per trade station.
4 points per trade station. Yeah, why not? If it's in a position, because that tile gets really good round 6. Everybody loves a game in which they are alone on the top of a track and that tile is sitting there just waiting for them. And they have all the times in the world to open their trading station and get the tile.
But as you said, we don't need our academies early. So we can easily open one last round.
Yes.
And not tarnishing our 16 points.
Exactly.
Bam.
Also, 5 points for Federation. Who doesn't like that? Terran do like that.
We already said a lot about that tile. I don't love that, but yeah, if it's there,
it's points.
Just grab it.
And the only tile that I can make a case that gives you point over time, that I can make a case maybe it's good for Terrans, is in theory the 2 points per advancement if you're playing the Terrans on science.
Because you're getting that, sure.
Game.
Yeah, sure.
However, if that tile is sitting on top of the science track, you will probably get competition for that tile. I would expect that at least. So I don't remember ever playing a game in which I was able to go up science, grab that tile, and score a lot of points out of that.
No, that's what Nevlas do,
That's what Nevlas do.
And they do that quite well.
Technically possible, but normally it doesn't happen. Because, again, somebody will probably rush it and get it before you do. So, does this cover advanced tech tiles?
Yeah.
I haven't played...
Oh, sorry. 1 point per planet types. I don't... Okay, no, that's... And 3 points... Transitions... No.
You know what? I will make another case for 3 point. Okay, no, one. Well, I will not. I will not. I will just pass on 1 point per planet type. I refuse to speak about that. 3 points per trading station every time you build a trading station. Why?
Well, I have the answer because there's nothing else.
Because there's nothing else, maybe.
One ore per sector. No, okay. Well,
but 3 points per mine.
Yeah, that's good.
Even if you get that round 5, like first action round 5, you grab that, and maybe you're able to build another 7 mines.
Okay, 7 mines is a lot.
Well, but 3 in round 5 and 3 in round 6 with your gaiaformers. I mean, those are...
No, but I get your point. It's good.
Even if it's 6 mine, even if it's 5 mine, that tile is super good. So
we had the same problem there, however.
But probably somebody got there before you did. But maybe you are alone on the gaiaforming track. I don't know. Things happen.
Okay.
So in theory, that could be good for Terrans.
Okay, so last bullet point. This is an important one as well, but it's an easy as well. And basic tactiles. This is way interesting with Terrans, I think.
I think we can summarize this in a very simple...
Okay, 2 basic tactiles we need, which are?
Yeah, there are 2 basic tactiles we need. And so the very general and always ever valid statement is if 3 points per Gaia planets sits at the bottom of the terraforming track, do not play Terrans! How are you not getting this? This is easy.
I love the fact that this is... I mean, one might say, okay, but I have played like 300 games and I want to... No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
But no, so
maybe
I'm sorry.
You,
okay,
maybe you can.
Let me be clear about this. Of course you can. If you want, of course you can. Everybody can do that. You know, you go to terraforming level 1. You immediately get 2 ore. Who doesn't like 2 ore? And you also get the tile that you need, and you can do that, of course. But that is clearly not optimal. So why did you pick Terran in the first place? Just to do a move that will make your game worth maybe, I don't know, 6 less points, 10 less points. I don't know. It's not optimal. Don't do that.
But you know what? That could be the case because in case that you are like one of the last picks of the game. And the fact that that very tile sits at the bottom of terraforming makes gaiaforming factions bad for everyone.
All right.
So that could be a case where you are the only one gaiaformer.
Okay, I concede the point. Matteo is right.
However, the third player will think the same, and maybe they are taking Baltax, which can take advantage from 3 point per Gaia on the bottom of terraforming, and so.
Well, I think I've already said what I think about Baltac going up terraforming in the Baltac episode, but I concede
I agree.
I concede that Baltacs on terraforming sounds bad, but it sounds better than Terrans on terraforming. So I agree with Matteo. I mean, there are some borderline cases in which I could consider playing Terrans if the 3 points per Gaia mine sits on top of the bottom, of the terraforming tracks. But in general, don't do that. Why?
Okay, so 3 points per Gaia planet is, of course, necessary for a game. That can be, if you are already quite expert with Terrans, that can be the first tile you grab. Round 1, who cares? Research lab, 3 points per Gaia. Okay, but...
I think the important question is not if you take the tile, the question is when you take the tile. Matteo, and this goes hand in hand with the question of tempo of the bumps on the Gaia tracks.
If you do that and can grab the tile with your first lab and go to navigation 2, and the map, of course, is suitable for that, do it. I mean, if you can grab a lot of Gaias, definitely do that. That's you're scoring a lot. I played a very good game against Jesse G, who did that and disintegrated us with his Terrans. But
at the same time, don't be afraid, to lose 3-6 points from the first Gaias that you...
But if you're playing like another game, like Simone was saying, pay attention to another super duper important tile, which is...
Charge 4. Of course, for something. I felt like, when
No, also for credits isn't bad. but
No, but chart 4 is
is
definitely
our tile.
yes, it's the Terran tile.
Okay, not as ours as for Nevas or Taklons, but still a very good one.
It's super important for Terrans. So that tile really changes your game, really makes you a stronger faction even stronger. It's really worth a lot. It gives you a lot of value. So yeah, there are 2 tiles that the Terrans need. I agree with Matteo. One is 3 points per Gaia, and the other one is charge 4. You can just play a whole game with these 2 tiles, and you'll be okay.
Okay, you will then need like base tiles for placing your advanced ones. But that's not even true, because at some point, I mean, if you're getting late advanced tiles, or maybe even one, you can easily cover the charge 4, and that's it.
Yeah, if in worst case scenario you can do that. Of course, the best tile to cover is probably always the 1 or 1 QIC for every faction, but in particular for Terran, because the Terrans, they do not like the 1 knowledge point for planet type. I mean, it's not that you don't like, but you will not.
We could be forced to take that, because it's, I don't know, at the bottom of gaiaforming, and I mean, you're not forced to, but it helps with the tempo. We could, but we're not looking for that. We're looking for the 1 or QSC, of course. Well, and we always look for the 7-point style. Why not?
Of course, but that is normally a late game tile. So if you need to cover something,
the presence of the, I think that the worst placement of the 3 point per Gaia is not actually at the bottom of terraforming, but is at the bottom of economy.
Yeah.
Because as you said before, we can play the economy game. We definitely can, not a problem. But for gaiaforming factions, that is a problem, because you are, of course, going up the economy track at that point. But so are the terraforming ones, and they are way better than you are at doing so.
But it's okay. I mean, you can even imagine that you're playing a game in which you sit, on the level 4 of the economy track, and you do not plan to take the top of the economy track. You do not plan to take the tile that sits on the top of the economy track, because the other faction will do that before you. So you don't even think about competing for them. You just get all the bonuses that comes with sitting, high on the economy track, and then you get your points from somewhere else, probably the Gaia track. So it's not a terrible perspective, I
don't know, maybe it just messes with me, I don't know.
But yes, I mean, it's not my favorite thing, for sure. And I agree with you. I probably wouldn't pick Terrans in that context.
But they possibly are, along with the Tars, 2 factions which can actually afford to take that tile if it's on bottom of economy. I mean, it's way worse if you are playing with Gleams and want to Gaiaform. Tile. I'm not playing with Gleams, basically, if I want to Gaiaform and that tile is there.
Of course.
So, but for Gleams it's not that necessary. I don't know. Anyway, Terrans can take that if it's at the bottom of economy. I just don't like that. Charge 4, not super duper absolutely necessary, but yeah, it is.
Yes, because it turns your super good...
but it also is. So.
It also is, because it turns your super good power cycle into an astronomically good power cycle. And why not do that?
It's not like I will not pick Terrans if everything else is perfect and that tile sits at the bottom of terraforming. That's the...
You know what? I would... I would go as far as to say that if I cannot, if I can't easily get the charge 4 power tile, then because everything that I say in this show is aimed at optimization of. Of course, you can do a lot of things. You can go up, 1 bump at a terraforming track and then stop. You can play Terran without the charge 4. You can do a lot of things in this game. Sometimes you are forced to non-optimal choices, but when you have a choice, when your choices are open, I always go for optimization. And I mean, if you're playing for fun, if you're playing with friends, of course you can do everything. But if we're thinking about I'm competitive, I really want to win this game, then
what I mean is that I don't think that taking the say 4 credits income instead of the charge 4 completely destroys my chances. No. If I have to take the 3 point per Gaia from the bottom of terraforming, then I start thinking, wow, do I want to do that?
Yeah.
Because that can be a problem.
Yeah, sure.
Just this.
Sure.
Anyway,
Agreed.
the basic textiles is
So-
I think it's basically done because it's easy.
Okay, sure. I mean, if you want to go for the 4 credits one, that's good, of course. Who doesn't like the Terrans love that?
Because it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good tile, and also you have this weird relationship with your power cycle and planetary institute, so you just get your credits out of that tile, and then you can spend all of your power of your beginning of the round income on ore, and you're happy. Yeah, that you can do that. I'm just saying that charge 4 is way better, but you can play with the
Correct.
with the 4 credits.
If you want to take another income tile instead of the charge 4, I think that, and you have your PI in play, this is very important. I think that the 3 income tiles, like 1 credit and 1 knowledge, 1 ore and charge 1, 4 credits are basically the same.
Yeah, they're pretty much.
Because they
Although
one ore and charge 1 is the worst one.
Is the worst. But I would always go for the credits one.
Sure.
Because that's what you need the most normally.
Okay, but 1K and 1C, maybe I will leave one of my trade station open.
That really depends on the type of Terran game that you're playing.
It's not
that knowledge point could be super important or could be not.
Or maybe not. That game I won, I think I had an income of like 1 to 2 knowledge for 2/3 of the game, something like that. Because you can also use the 4 QIC action to go up the tiles. Why not? Because if you have navigation, you really don't need that. I think it's basically it. We have said enough. I think also for how to play against Terrans.
Well, I think
that's it. I mean,
that was covered like relatively throughout the guide. If you want to play against Terran, you need to pick a faction who is able to do that. And we're basically talking Baltax or we're talking Itars.
Also Gleans. Some games. If you're good at Gleans, and you should be.
If you're good at Gleans, and if the map is good for Gleans, then Gleans. And sometimes the Ivets. Because the Ivets can play, if they want, they can play moderately aggressive gaiaforming game or a super aggressive gaiaforming game. That's more difficult because the problem with Ivets is where they will strike, more or less. The Ivets will not, jump across the galaxy to steal a transdim from you that you were not expecting.
In fact, I don't know if Ivets are enough to fend off Terrans, actually.
It depends. It depends on the positioning on the transdim, where the Ivets are, placed in there.
Let me quickly review the questions to see if we answer them all. Felfor, also could you address the big danger it is for other factions to leave Terrans gaiaforming alone? I think we did that.
Don't do that. Terrans will win.
Don't. When to build the PI? As soon as you can, but if you are beginning with Terrans, just do it round 1.
My answer is round 1 or round 2. Matteo's answer is as soon as you can, which is pretty much the same, not exactly the same, but pretty much the same.
When to climb the Gaia track? We said that. PI.
Well, we really didn't. Maybe we didn't give a super complete answer to that question. But the point is that if you're playing the science Terran game, then you climb the Gaia track very late. Probably you start round 4, but maybe even round 5. That depends on a huge number of elements. If you have competition and you're playing the only navigation and gaiaforming Terran game, then you start climbing the Gaia track earlier, but definitely after you have gotten to navigation level 2, I would say.
Yeah,
that's very general rules with that know a lot of exceptions.
Okay, so I think this is it, because then we have like a conversation about Pro-J saying that he's never had an issue getting mines without navigation. Terrans can play great without it. Okay, yes, but it's not. We are talking to beginners here in general, and you can do that. I also have had my games with going up to QIC track because the 2 points per Gaia was there.
Yeah,
and you know what? If the 2 points per Gaia planet is on top of QIC, that is actually better because people don't tend to go too much up the QIC.
Not early in the game, anyways.
Not early, and that's it. So, I like to go up science with the lab. Babuk says no, it's better with PI. He agrees with you. Okay, in the end, truly friendly foe, says, sounds like we could just read this conversation aloud and it would be a good podcast. No, it would not. This one was a good podcast.
Indeed.
Take notes, please. Okay.
So this is it for today's episode.
Yeah, that was great. Very happy.
It was good. It was good going back to Gaia after.
I missed this. Yeah.
After this long pause. Future episodes will not probably come out with the same regularity as was the case in the past.
Sure. The idea was like to release. We want to complete this guide for sure.
Sorry, Matteo's cat is doing weird things.
We have been worshipping my cat for the last 20 minutes. I hope you didn't notice that.
Weird noises that you heard in the last 20 minutes were Matteo's cat doing things.
But no, I was saying the idea was to release like the missing guides because the community wants those, and I can agree with them.
And we want to
finish
what we
our
started.
project. I would like to also release.
And then we will retire.
And I
We
would
will
like
be
to
happy
release
with all the money that you gave
a
us.
second monthly episode, but on my own. No, don't worry. Aimed at more expert players, but in the past I have found that can be quite a problem without some motivation extra getting that into the schedule and such. So I was thinking about opening like a Patreon or something for PyProject, but this is not an announcement. First, let's talk
about... This is just Matteo thinking aloud. You heard this, but you could have maybe not heard this. It was just random.
So maybe we can talk about that together in the Discord. Join us there, please. And or maybe not. Who cares? For now, just
follow the links in the description of the episode if you want to, which you should.
Play Terrans. Tell us how it goes.
It's probably very well.
Yeah, it's not. That's not going to be hard. Don't worry. Especially if you're new, tell us what you got from this guide. And well, up to them. Hear you on the next episode of PyProject. Right?
And the closing line.
Bye.
Ciao.